Hello everyone, welcome back to Jikook Moments. There is one question that keeps resurfacing in the fandom. Why is it that every time Jungkook talks about honesty, boundaries, or serious consequences, the spotlight somehow always circles back to Jikook? No names are mentioned. No confessions are made. No official confirmations exist. And yet, within hours, theories emerge, and Jimin is once again pulled into the equation. Coincidence? Or is it because their dynamic has been far too consistent for over a decade to ignore? Today, we're going to talk about it, calmly and respectfully. There is something that lingers like a shadow in the fandom. Whenever something vague or open to interpretation happens, a sentence, a pause, a subtle expression, the attention almost always finds its way back to Jikook. Not because Jungkook says Jimin's name. Not because he gives concrete hints. Not because there is any explicit admission, but because the narrative already exists. It has been built. It has taken root. When Jungkook speaks about honesty, limits, and how complicated it is to say everything on his mind because there could be serious consequences, he does not point to anyone. He does not single out a specific relationship. He does not say he wants to reveal something about a particular person. Yet within hours, speculation spreads. And somehow, without being mentioned, Jimin is inserted into the story. That's when we have to pause and ask, why is it always Jikook? Jikook is not a small ship in a quiet corner of the fandom. It is one of the largest, most analyzed, and longest-standing dynamics among the members of BTS. For more than a decade, nearly every interaction between them, a glance, shared laughter, protective gestures, the way they stand close, has been recorded, edited, and analyzed repeatedly. That consistency gives the narrative strength. And precisely because it is strong, it triggers reactions. When Jungkook says he cannot be fully honest because it could lead to serious consequences, even affecting the company, some immediately link it to rumored heterosexual relationships, for example with Winter. The theory suggests that confirming such a relationship could create controversy. At first glance, that interpretation sounds reasonable. But looking at patterns in the K-pop industry, heterosexual dating news, while triggering backlash, usually follows a familiar cycle: shock, controversy, media coverage, heated discussion, then gradual normalization. Strong reactions happen, but rarely to the point of structurally threatening a company. So why does serious consequences feel heavier than a typical dating reveal? This is where some consider another possibility. And it must be emphasized, this remains speculation. There is no official confirmation. Hypothetically, if someone were referring to a relationship between two members of the same group, two men within an industry and society that can still be conservative regarding LGBTQ+ issues, the context shifts. We are no longer discussing temporary disappointment. We are talking about social pressure, endorsement contracts, brand image built over years, and public reactions in South Korea that could be far more complex. In that scenario, the risks are undeniably more sensitive. Because Jikook has been a long-standing narrative, some automatically connect Jungkook's words to that dynamic. But what stands out even more than the theory is the backlash. There is a major difference between saying, maybe he was referring to his dynamic with Jimin, and claiming that Jungkook wants to reveal he was forced to interact. That their closeness was only fan service. That everything seen over 10 years was scripted. At that point, we are no longer discussing romance. We are attempting to erase a decade of visible interaction. Jikook did not appear yesterday. From trainee days to early content, concerts, backstage footage, and world tours, their closeness has been consistent. Not a single viral clip. Not one dramatic edit, but a recurring pattern difficult to dismiss. Calling all of that forced carries serious implications. It suggests two people maintained flawless emotional performance for over 10 years. That natural body language was high-level acting. That spontaneous laughter was contractual. Realistically, the total fabrication theory sounds more extreme than accepting a simpler explanation. They are genuinely close, genuinely comfortable, and genuinely care about each other, whatever the nature of that bond. More unsettling is the repeating pattern. Whenever a negative narrative appears, Jimin often becomes the implicit target. If Jungkook sounds ambiguous, theories say he wants to break free. If they are close, it's fan service. If they seem distant, it's conflict. Jimin becomes the problematic variable in every equation. This is not just about defending a ship. It is about recognizing bias. Other dynamics can coexist without framing a third party as an obstacle. Yet with Jikook, there often seems to be a need to dismantle their closeness before building another narrative. But because Jikook feels too strong to ignore, every gesture appears threatening to some. So explanations arise. Contracts, marketing, scripted interactions. When perhaps the simplest explanation is this: they are close. They care. They are comfortable with each other. Ironically, this aligns with Jungkook's words about the difficulty of being fully honest. Imagine living under a microscope where every interaction becomes a battlefield of theories. Where your closeness leads to someone being attacked. Where silence becomes conspiracy. Honesty in that environment becomes complicated. And in all this speculation, one fact is often forgotten. There is no official confirmation about their relationship status. What exists is a consistent dynamic open to interpretation. Defending Jikook does not mean declaring certainty that they are a couple. It means acknowledging their visible bond and rejecting narratives that frame Jimin as a burden. Ultimately, beyond theories, we are talking about two real people. Two individuals who grew up together from their teenage years. Who shared stages, pressure, criticism, and global achievements. Who live under constant scrutiny. Denying that connection because it does not fit a preferred narrative is not objectivity. It is bias. Theories will always exist. Jikook will continue to be analyzed. Every ambiguous sentence will be debated. But one thing should never disappear: respect. Respect for the dynamic they show. Respect for Jimin, who is often dragged into conflicts he did not start. And respect for the reality that not every statement about honesty needs to become a fandom war. When every conversation ends with attempts to discredit one side, what suffers is not just a ship, but the fandom's health. In the end, we have no official confirmations. Only a pattern of closeness visible for years. Defending Jikook does not mean forcing a label. It means refusing narratives that reduce one person to a burden. Behind every theory are two real people living under relentless spotlight. So before speculating too far, perhaps the most important thing to remember is simple: respect. Share your thoughts in the comments, thoughtfully and maturely. See you in the next Jikook Moments.